Hello, friends. Welcome back to Believe in Eagles. I am your host, Lee Mayock, and graciously joining us once again for NFL Week 10, it's my father, Mike Mayock. Woo! Hey, Dad.
Hi, Lee. How are you, honey?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Did you notice that I changed backgrounds?
What do you mean?
I changed my podcast setup. You used to be able, and for anyone who watches or doesn't watch, you used to be able to see where I was sitting. You would be able to see into my kitchen and just stare at my microwave. And it was just not that cute. So I'm trying this from my couch. It's way more comfy. And I think it's just a better look. It's kind of bland, but I think it's better than a microwave.
Okay. I'm in.
Did you even notice that it was different?
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, guys, as always, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. It's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. I'm really still getting into this, and I'm having some fun with it, so I'll make a couple more picks for this Sunday's Eagles-Cowboys game. Head over to betonline.com and make some money with me. Are you going to, Dad?
Make some money with you?
Mm-hmm.
I think you owe me a lot of money for the last X amount of years.
I didn't ask to be here. Okay.
Go win me some money.
Okay, all right. So I know you and I were texting during the Eagles-Jags game last weekend, but I was actually there. So I feel like I get to say that I witnessed history with the Saquon Barkley backwards hurdle. How sick was that?
It was pretty sick. I mean, you know me, I don't get too emotional when I watch a game. I just lock in and enjoy the challenges on both sides. And I was by myself. And I was like, oh, my God. I mean.
You should have heard the stadium because it was like 3 insane moves in a row. Like moves that you would be lucky to see like a running back make one of those moves during a game. And we saw 3 in a row in the same play. And the crowd was just like, whoa. It was insane. And then they replayed it so many times. It was so cool to watch. The vibe, the momentum, the tempo was set.
I don't know how you even have the ability to conjure that in your mind while you're playing. You have to be such an amazing athlete and an instinctive athlete to put those two things together. In other words, I'm about to get hit from behind, but I can jump over this guy backwards.
Well, did you see what he said? He said that he made a move to the right and thought he was going to juke him out, but the guy went to the left, and that's why he jumped backwards over him. So there is no thinking involved. I don't think it's
no. I mean, and you know it from playing basketball. Yeah. I mean, the more you think, kind of the worse you get. And
hello, hi. Say example: Lee's foul shots. I had about 10 seconds too long to think, and then that was the worst part of my entire game. But
well, you inherited that from me, so
you never told me that.
I was an awful foul shooter.
You made me think that it was just Dad. If you would have told me that, I would have felt way better about myself. I would have blamed you.
Lee, I mean, you scored a lot more points in high school basketball than I did. So
imagine how much more I could have scored.
Yeah, that's probably not for this conversation, but
okay. All right. But anyway, so the Eagles game was so fun to be at. It was the first one. It's the first game I've been in person at this season. The vibes were really high. It was so fun, but what should have been pretty much a blowout against a 2-6 Jags team that's already kind of starting rebuilding. It turned into a really close game. We already were just talking about the offense. So what did you see from that game offensively and coaching decision-making wise?
My biggest frustration or pet peeve right now with the Eagles is that I really like Nick a lot and I root for his success. He's been out there since he got the job saying I'm aggressive and I'm going to go for it and I'm going to do this. And that's fine. However, I think it's sometimes you can put your team at risk by being aggressive when you don't have to be aggressive. I mean, you know, you got a chance to, what'd they lose in point? They were 0 for 2 on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
where they could have kicked short field goals. That's 6 points. They were 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions. If they had just kicked them, that's another 3 points. So, but that's 9 points. To your point, in a game that should have been a blowout, they're up 22-0. There's no way in the world the Jags ought to have the ball 1st and 10 on the 13-yard line with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left and a chance to win. There's no way in the world that should have happened. No. And I really think a lot of it is not just the 9 points, but the fact that it kills momentum when you miss on a 4th and goal or you miss on an extra point, a conversion. It just does. So I think there are times when Nick is over aggressive when he doesn't need to be. And, that turned a game that should have been an easy one into a 1-possession game that the Jaguars could have won if Trevor Lawrence doesn't make a dumb throw at the end of the game.
Yeah, there's no way it should have been that way. It was just the switch in, like you said, momentum to, it was palpable. The whole game changed. Do you think that in tandem with with Sirianni being so aggressive, do you think he's trying to use some of this as practice in a way? Because that's the vibe I was getting. He was like, might as well try this again. Let's see if this works. Let's try this. We're in a blowout. And I just don't think that you can do that in professional NFL football games.
I think he's stubborn, and I think he's wedded to analytics and to his own persona of aggressive-ness. And I think he believes, and I don't blame him. If I was a head coach in the NFL, I'd have my own hard-fought beliefs and want to follow them through.
Oh, you don't say, as you do in everything in life.
Well, but at a certain point, and I heard him talk the other day where he said, we think it all through, and if I have to change, I will. That's easy to say, but it's hard to do. Okay. Because I think he really believes in that. But big picture, it's like the Saquon Barkley drop against Atlanta that I think cost them a football game. If Nick wasn't so hard-headed, they would have handed the ball off and won the game. Okay? Right. And this turned into a game where they could have lost a game they should have won. Fortunately, it didn't happen. And again, I really like Nick and I root for him. I just hope he takes a step back. I love being aggressive, but I think there are times where it's just smarter not to be.
Okay. And so in terms of the Eagles offense in general that you saw against the Jags this week, what did you like?
I like that for the 4th consecutive game, Jalen Hurts didn't turn the ball over. Okay. And I'm not, I like Jalen, and I'm not going to sit here and say he's a franchise quarterback. I mean, there's only 4, 5, 6 of them in the NFL at any given time. And I don't think he's there. But when he takes care of the football and when he uses his athletic ability with his legs, they're a good football team. And that's what they're doing right now. I really like, his passer rating is 128.9, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 6 rushing touchdowns in the last 4 games. And they're 4-0. Now, it's against 4 pretty bad teams, but they're 4-0. And they cleaned up a lot of the stuff on offense. What I really loved, Lee, is you heard me talk about DeVonta Smith a bunch this year. Yep. And I think he gets overshadowed by A.J. Brown.
Me too.
Okay. A.J. Brown's a great wide receiver. However, I think DeVonta Smith is in the exact same conversation as A.J. Brown as an elite wideout in the NFL. And what I loved last week is that Jalen gave him a chance to make some plays. He had a 45-yard catch on a deep over in the 4th quarter, was a huge play. And then he had that great catch on the 3rd and 22 from the 25-yard line, and he gets a touchdown catch. And I'm not sure Jalen would always throw that. He gave him a chance in the back of the end zone, one-hand catch, got his feet down. He does the little things, but for a guy that's so skinny and quick, man, is he tough. He's fast. He's got great hands. I think he's one of the top wideouts in the NFL, and I love that Jalen gave him a chance to make some plays.
Do you think that we'll be seeing more of that?
Well, here's what happens. A.J. Brown was hurt, right? He comes back.
Right.
Dallas Goedert was hurt, and he might be coming back this weekend. They activated him, and it'll either be this week or next week. 26 is one of the best players in the NFL. So,
and because of him, the Eagles finally scored in the first quarter.
There you go.
Got that out of the way.
Point being that there are a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
You can't have ego. And I look at it, best case scenario is you can spread the ball around, and it makes it really hard for the defense has to say, who are we double teaming? Are we A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith? What happens with Barkley? What do we do with Dallas Goedert? So to me, it's a perfect situation for all of them to flourish as long as their egos don't get in the way. So I love the situation, and I just hope they keep pushing the ball to DeVonta Smith and give him chances to make plays.
Yeah, it was fun seeing him get opportunities to make catches because he makes these crazy catches every single time he has the opportunity. It's so fun to watch.
Yep.
All right, so then on the other side of the ball, defensively, is it safe to say that Vic Fangio's game planning is kind of coming together? And I asked that because I had some fun watching some tape after the game, and I was really impressed by the linebacker play. So I'm watching a play. The linebackers are in zone coverage, and you had pointed this out to me before when they were doing things a little sloppily, they weren't coming together cohesively as a unit. And when the linebackers would have offensive crossers come through, they would chase them down instead of pass them off. And in two different possessions versus the Jags, Trevor Lawrence was sacked because he didn't have any open offensive players, and it was because Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean passed off those crossers and stayed in zone instead of negating the zone. And again, that was like, speaking of basketball again, I was just like, that was such a clean defensive play. Clearly they needed the communication and understanding of one another to do so. So is that an example of Vic's defense coming together?
Yeah, it's absolutely is. And Zach Bond was a free agent that Vic loved. The rest of the league didn't. Nakobe Dean was a third-round pick. And Vic is fashioning them together now as a linebacker tandem that are playing really well. And to your point, it is similar to a matchup zone in basketball. And where it's even more important in football is in the red zone and goal line areas, because you're in a compressed area, and certain teams play great red zone defense, and that's what they do. They pass off because you can get in a lot of trouble with picks and rubs in the red zone and goal line.
Same as basketball. Yep.
And it's the same with what you're talking about in the middle of the field with crossers.
Yeah.
If you're playing man-to-man, they call them mesh concept. If you're an offensive person, they call them mesh. Mm-hmm. They want the two receivers to cross very closely. So if you're in man coverage, there's four bodies going through the same short area. And if one of the two defenders gets caught, he's screwed. Right. So learning how to pass off in zone coverage and certain match man type things are really, really important. And I've told you before the year started, I'm a Vic Fangio fan, and I think they're getting better and better. And 33s, playing Cooper DeJean, I thought played well.
Yeah.
27, Mitchell played well again. It was interesting watching that last. I went back and watched the tape, and that last series, 1st and 10 on the 13-yard line. And actually, if you can go back before that, when they had it on the 47 with 2 minutes left, Jags are down 5. It was interesting to see who was in the game, because coaches, your grandfather was one. And when the game's on the line, you play your best people, right? Mm-hmm. So at defensive end, it was Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat. Mm-hmm. Now, Zero came in the game. What's his face? The Bryce Huff came in the game and spelled Brandon Graham during that drive. Okay. And then inside, started inside the defensive tackles. It was, of course, Jalen Carter, but the other one was Ojomo.
Okay,
who nobody talks about.
Wow,
so
yeah.
When the Eagles have to rush the quarterback at the end of the game, they had both Brandon Graham and Ojomo.
Okay.
In the front four. Okay. And they gave him a rest with Milt Williams. But my point is, Vic's starting to find out who he likes. Okay. And who's going to put pressure and what they're going to do. And, they had the pass interference by Maddox that was on 3rd and 10 and gave the Jags a first down. And I'm sitting there going, the Eagles are going to lose a game. They have no rights losing. And then 8, Connor Johnson gets beat on a deep out for 22 yards. And now all of a sudden it's 1st and 10 on the 13-yard line with a minute something left. Plenty of time. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And that's when Nakobe Dean made a great play. And in my mind, Trevor Lawrence made a dumb play because situational football dictates it's first down. You don't have to make that throw on first down. If you don't like it, throw it away. Do not let the Eagles intercept that ball on first. You got at least 4 shots. There's a minute 42 left. So I thought Trevor Lawrence forced it, giving the Nakobe Dean a ton of credit and the Eagles defense for pulling it out, but it was way too hard to win.
It was everyone there was just like, how are we here again? How is this happening again? But would you say that's more of the overall game breakdown was more because if you had to choose something, it would be because of like the decision making?
I think if the decision making was different, it would have been a different game.
Right. We wouldn't. Okay. It wouldn't have been that close. There would have been more points. Momentum would have stayed a little bit more on the Eagles side.
Yeah. And do they have to be more consistent in all 3 phases? Yeah, they do.
Right.
100%. No doubt about it. Mm-hmm. If they want to be there and make a deep run at the end of the season. But they're 6-2. It's kind of crazy because, they've got Dallas and Washington coming up, and before the year, we would have thought Dallas was going to be the more difficult of those 2 games. But Washington's playing their butts off. And so they got 3 of the next 4 on the road, I believe. They're at Dallas, then they host Washington, then they're at the Rams and at Baltimore. So the next 4 are a little different than the last 4. And we're going to get a lot better feeling for where the Eagles rank in the NFL hierarchy.
Right. And in all phases of their own game. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, speaking of NFL Week 10, got the Dallas Cowboys coming up, a little bit different of a matchup than we expected going into it, but still huge, important divisional game nonetheless. The Cowboys kind of seem to be in shambles. Obviously, news just we're trickling out about Dak Prescott's injury. It's worse than what people thought it to be. Zeke's been having some disciplinary issues. Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. Jerry Jones is Jerry Jonesing. What's going on with the Cowboys? What are you seeing?
This is a team that won 12 games 3 years in a row. That means you have good talent, you have good coaching. You have to have both, right? So Mike McCarthy doesn't get a contract extension after last season. He's, quote, a lame duck coach. He's going into his last year. Jerry Jones has been quite public about their lack of playoff success and that Mike McCarthy's job is pretty much still on the line because of that. He expects them to make a deep run this year for Mike McCarthy to get an extension. Now, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, and every NFL team does. But when you're talking about Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, the two of the premier defensive ends in football, both being out at the same time, their third defensive end has been out also. Deron Bland, their Pro Bowl corner, hasn't even played yet this year. Now the quarterback goes down. I'm not trying to give them excuses, but Mike McCarthy's a good football coach. However, I don't think Jerry Jones really gave him the best opportunity to keep his job this year. I mean, by not giving him a contract, I think we all knew that if he didn't go deep in the playoffs, Jerry was going to go in a different direction.
So is that what you're expecting if that happens?
If they don't turn things around in a big way, and it's hard to do that without your quarterback, I don't think Mike McCarthy will be back. And again, I think Mike McCarthy's a really good football coach, high-level coach.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So in terms of this week, obviously they're without their quarterback. Do you think that are the Eagles game planning more so for Cooper Rush or Trey Lance?
I think the Cooper Rush offense looks a lot like the Dak Prescott offense.
Okay.
I think the Trey Lance offense and what they will be preparing for is a little bit of planned quarterback run.
Okay.
They have to be sitting there going, if we see Trey Lance, either an extended dose of him or certain packages of him, we better be ready for quarterback counter, quarterback sweep, quarterback run. So I'm sure they're practicing that and repping that. Cooper Rush is a little bit more like Dak, where he wants to beat you in the pocket. He's not as talented as Dak, but he's a smart, tough kid that I think has the respect of their locker room.
Okay. What would you do if you were the coach? Who would you be playing quarterback-wise?
Well, people have to understand Mike McCarthy's job's on the line.
Yeah, so he has to give everything he needs to do is to win, is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Jerry Jones isn't going to fire the GM because he's the GM also.
So, there we go.
So, I mean, these guys are fighting for their coaching lives. Whoop, Max has to get out.
Oh, hi, Max. Everyone, this is a break for dog time. Hello, that's little Maxie. He's a big, huge mutt, and he's the sweetest guy in the world. You can see his fluffy tail. How old is Max now?
Somewhere between 1.5 years and 2.
Still, it's a puppy.
Yeah, he's a 130-pound puppy.
And honestly, he's kind of a dumb jock.
Well, whatever.
Yes.
So where were we?
Well, you were saying that Mike McCarthy is fighting for his job.
Yeah, I think he is. And I think the biggest danger for the Eagles is just practicing this week the way they do every week, not taking anything for granted, not thinking ahead to Washington and the Rams and Baltimore. And everybody's beating Dallas. Dallas, if they get Micah Parsons back this week, and they probably will, it'll be a different look on defense for them. Deron Bland might play. Don't know. Pro Bowl corner. So the biggest mistake the Eagles can make is to overlook this team. You gotta look at it like it's a huge rivalry game. Dallas is fighting for their lives. The head coach is fighting for his life, and you got to be ready for a dogfight.
And honestly, to me, it would be crazy if they were thinking anything otherwise, considering the fact that the Eagles are pretty great at playing down to competitors.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And, they went from 2-2 to 6-2. They fattened up on some teams with losing records. And now they got to understand these next 4 games, it's a different conversation. And because of that, they've got to, me, my belief is kind of like a Belichick belief, which is you get a little tiny bit better every day, starting all year round, training camp, whatever.
Are you going to say to stack good days?
That's how you go about it. You stack days. But if you let down, it already started. If the Eagles are going to let down, it's not like they're going to let down on Sunday. It started on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right. Does the injury report worry you at all, or is that just more of what a normal walkthrough looks like when players need rest?
Yeah. As the season progresses, more and more guys get rest.
Yeah.
And that's just smart.
Yeah.
So I always wait and take a closer look at the Friday injury report because it tells you the most.
Okay. So we're not worried. No need to worry. So what's your prediction for the Eagles Cowboys game?
Well, I don't really have a prediction other than what I just said. I think they need to go down there. They're at Dallas. They need to take care of business, take care of the football. It's a tough environment to win in. Those fans will be pissed off if the Eagles get on top early. So
yeah. And so what is if say the Eagles do win? Is there any world in which you think that Mike McCarthy would be fired mid-season?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because that's a hot topic right now too. And I'm with you. I don't think so either. I think that he deserves to finish out the season.
I don't think Jerry will do that. I just think he'll play the year out see how it ends, and then make the decision at that point.
Okay, that makes sense. I think more people need more owners need to be that way, but that's another soapbox that I'll save for another day.
Yeah, they're not known for their patience as a group.
No. Shocking. Billionaires' patience? Never heard of such a thing. Speaking of premium quality things, you clearly have not gotten the melon hats that I've sent yet. I just sent them out like last week. No. So okay. I can even see your hat. You've definitely worn that one before, like working out, golfing and such. I can tell. If you're wearing a melon hat, if you were wearing a melon hat, it would look brand new. I talked about this last week, but it's Melon. It's MELN, and it's melon.com is the website, MELIN.com. And I'm getting them for everyone on my holiday list this year. Yesterday I wore one to Pilates and then went straight to brunch, and it still looks so cute. I got like 5 compliments about it. I thought that it would be perfect for you because you have so many guy friends that wear hats because you're like balding and you wear hats at like playing.
I wear hats my whole life, and I'm not balding yet.
But Dad, you don't want to do that. But they're just so good for like outdoor stuff. They're sweat resistant, smell proof.
Like that, Bo?
Yeah, that looks so good on you. So good. What a look. Yeah. What a look. But anyway, they have their holiday gift guide on their website too, and I might send you some more hats so that you never look like this again. Yeah, that delivery really needs to come through because that one's looking kind of scary.
I can't wait to be a melon head.
Yeah, woo! We can match. We can twin. I sent a couple. They're really like for women too. Mandy would like it, so you should show her them. She would probably like the ones that I like. They're called I think the performance dad hats. They're so cute. I'll text you about it. But it's Melon if you're looking for it. MELIN.com, and they're my new fave.
Got it.
What do you have going this weekend? It's Thursday night. Thursday night football's tonight. Ravens, Bengals. Will you be watching?
That's a good one.
I know.
And I have an affinity, and I know the Ravens people really well. Have a ton of respect for John Harbaugh, who used to live down the street from us when he was the Eagles special teams coach. The Harbaugh family know very well. Their GM, Eric DaCosta, know him very, very well I went on scouting trips with him 20, 25 years ago.
When I hear his name, I just think of the two of you watching tape. That it's just in tandem always.
Well, he's really a good guy. I used to watch tape with a lot of guys and a lot of teams and on the road. And Eric was really good to me when he was an area scout back when he was just a guy. And I think,
Jags?
Yeah, but I think he's incredibly talented. And I think, do they have to play better defense, more consistent defense? Yes. But lining up against their offense is ridiculous. I mean, the signing they made with the running back in the offseason changed who they are. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry is a 250-pound monster. And between him and Lamar, you got to stop a running game that's unprecedented, maybe in the history of the NFL. I think Lamar's throwing the football better from the pocket. They made a trade for a wideout before the deadline. So they're doing all this. I think they're going to score. Any defense is going to struggle keeping them under 30. Mm-hmm. So for Joe Burrow and Cincinnati tonight, they're going to have to score some points. Burrow threw 5 touchdown passes last week and was not happy with his performance. And I give him a lot of credit. You throw 5 TDs, a lot of guys are celebrating. Right. He was kind of like, we were sloppy. We got to be way better. So the margin of error, because what are they, 3-6 or 3-5, whatever they are?
Yeah.
The margin for error for Cincinnati is slight, and they got to play their best football.
And real quick, because was wondering it myself today when I was looking at that matchup, what's up with the Ravens defense? I'm not used to their defense being kind of subpar.
Yeah, they have a new coordinator, Zach Orr, who's been there for a few years. Wink Martindale went to the University of Michigan. So I think even though it's a similar scheme, I think they're struggling a little bit with continuity and communication. They've struggled on the back end with their defensive backs a little bit. They've had some injuries back there. The one thing I've noticed is more big plays against their defense than I've seen before.
Chunk?
More chunks, yeah. More chunks. I'm not used to that with Baltimore. There's been a lot more, and that's communication, getting players used to a new scheme, new players. I would anticipate, if Baltimore's like Baltimore always is, that they'll continue to get better on defense as they head toward the playoffs.
Okay, cool. That'll be fun to watch tonight. And I hope you're right, because I love them. I shouldn't say this, but I do love they're so fun to watch. I love the Ravens.
They're very aggressive, always have been, very tough, very physical.
Yeah, so fun to watch. But and then one more thing. You don't care about this, but the girlies that have been watching the pod, they were asking about my lip combo. And so really quickly, I just want to tell you girlies, first layer, makeup by Mario. It is apricot glow. and the lip butter balm that I put on top of it is the vanilla Summer Fridays. So Summer Fridays and makeup by Mario and apricot glow. And Dada, we lost you. All right, well, thanks for being here. Maybe I'll take all my makeup information over to social media so as to not bother you. Thanks for being here. We have a really exciting NFL Week 10 to get into starting tonight with Ravens-Bengals, and then the absolute creme de la creme game that we all care about is Eagles versus Dallas in Dallas. Let's hope they have all three phases of their game going on and can handle it if Micah Parsons is back, right?
Sounds good, honey. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Ed. Love you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.